And I woke up to the call. It was the guy called. He asked my name. I said, "Yeah, that's me." And then he was from FBI. It's like I thought someone's joking. Like this can't be a serious. Like
Hey everybody, thanks for joining here. I got episode number 17. We got a guy that I've known for a while. We've been doing business for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. Kamal Akandov. He's a realtor, he's an investor, and he's an expert. Kamal,
yes,
welcome,
sir.
my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No, of course, of course. So, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Kamal. You have a very, you're an immigrant to this country, so you have a very a long past that I'd like to talk about. Kind of like, and we call them rags to riches story. So, you came from nothing, and now you came to America, and you embraced the opportunity here in the United States, and you became something. When I know. There's not a lot of opportunity, so it's very difficult to make money and things like that. So let's start talking a little bit about you, where you grew up, your upbringing, and the beginning of your business journey. So let's talk about a little bit about where you were raised.
Right. So I was born in Soviet Union. Back then it was Soviets. I got lucky to travel for about, I want to say, 30 different countries. I lived a little bit in China, a little bit in India, all over the place, in Iran, and then I got to move to this country with a green card. I'm a legal immigrant.
You're a legal immigrant. That's good.
Yeah, I know. And then I'm joking. I don't care if it's illegal or illegal, but nowadays it's just trending.
No, that's all good.
Yeah. So I started as a student housing.
This is obviously post. Cold War. This is like in the 90s. You grew up there in the 90s, and I know that you understand or you speak like what are the five different languages? Six languages. What languages?
So it's Persian, English, Russian, Turkish, Ukrainian, a little bit of Polish. I think that's it. Yeah.
How did you wait? Which one? So you speak Farsi?
Yeah, I speak Farsi too. I just learned it from I'm very good with getting languages. Now I'm working on Spanish. Pretty much understand about 70% of Spanish when people speak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Turkish, you said?
So I grew up already speaking two languages. So it was Turkish and Russian. And then I added eventually more languages.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, when did you first... kind of get into real estate, because I know that happened in Ukraine, right?
No. In Ukraine, so go
ahead.
I did my PhD in international relations. I was a diplomat. I used to work for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then I had a company that was sending students overseas. So I sent about 500 people to study in different countries. About 50 guys I sent here to the United States, and then eventually I came here with a fellowship in Cal State Fullerton. And I started to notice a trend that people who come here, they have a hard time getting the housing because they don't have a social security, especially students.
You're talking about people from other countries.
Yeah, international students, when they come here, they have a hard time getting no credit score, no credit history. So,
but don't they? They're students, so they do student housing, don't they?
Well, most universities they are overbooked. So if you would just go to UCI, say them, hey, I need like a place to live, they would tell you, yeah, we have a wait list for 1 year. So you pretty much
they have to get an apartment nearby the school.
Exactly. Okay. So that was a model we started with, and now I do corporate housing. I rent to the guys who are coming from other states here to work, and refugees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. So, you're working in the Ukraine, you're starting to understand housing, and then you first get here to the United States and you're helping people with housing here in the United States.
Yeah. So first thing
when did your mind click?
I think it was no-brainer I started 2017 because it was a emerging trend. Whenever you would go to Google or YouTube and search for housing.
So this was a way for you to get international people into housing without credit checks, basically.
Exactly.
Or without income.
Exactly.
Just have credit cards or money or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was a no-brainer back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But now everything has changed. As you know, there are like lots of regulations.
Right.
Almost every city passed either ban or very strict regulations. So it makes things much, much more complicated. But people who started back then, they mostly diversified. So if you don't put all eggs in one basket, you get to, do the diversification. You can still have multiple.
So
but it got very oversaturated. Like literally, you would go to any zip code right now. The amazing thing, like places like Lancaster, no one would go there. Like you wouldn't. Would you think that someone would go there?
I mean,
Even
there's a big military base up there
in Lancaster.
It's close to Lancaster, but other than that, maybe somebody that has to be up there for work for a little bit, but it's far from LA. The Midwest in general, because things are cheap. Actually, I'm telling a lot of my clients to start investing over there, because not just Wisconsin, anywhere really in the Midwest where the rents are really high, so the cash flow is good. It's the same thing. This guy in Wisconsin, he's buying homes for dirt cheap, and then he's renting it out on Airbnb. It's only cost him $1,000 a month. He's making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. So
and the government is pretty much helping you to build. I applied for the construction license here. It's been 2 years. We haven't. You know that property.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I want to get back. Sorry, I want to get back on track a little bit. We kind of went off track. So we talked about rental arbitrage. We talked about kind of what rental arbitrage is, and you said you got your first property in 2017.
Yes.
So how did you scale that? How did you get more properties? What did you do to kind of expand on that?
Well, I think back in the day we were on what they call, there's a specific word, high tide. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like on a high tide because most of the landlords, they were interested in renting the place. They didn't really care unless you would have a crazy parties, which sometimes happens.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So it was really easy to scale up until COVID hit. We were pretty much adding 2-3 properties every month. I had a partner back in the day, and it was just growing on its own. If you build the right team, if you have all the instruments in places, then it's pretty much automated.
So how when you go to a property owners, or you go to
It was back in the day. It was mostly companies that I used to work with. Now I mostly do it with private investors. And then, you would go there. You would get one property.
Do you give them more than the rent? Do you give them more?
Same amount.
You just wait till the property's been on the market for a long time?
Yeah, not necessarily. Back in the day, no one would care. Again, if you would not have bad tenants, everybody would love. Who would not want a tenant who would pay on time? Not cause troubles.
Well, that's the problem. You're not okay. The issue is that you're not the tenant. So how can you say that they're not?
But technically, I am tenant. My company is tenant.
I know, but you're not the one that's going to. You are physically not going to be in that place. So it's
exactly. Like the big companies, they don't really care. Big companies, they don't really care.
Okay. So I know we talked a little bit. Let's talk about. How many did you have? How many did you eventually? So you're growing business. What's the most that you had?
So we grew up to 40 until COVID hit, and then at the time of COVID, we decided to sell, and we had a very nice buyers. So what ended up happening? We just stopped everything during the COVID because no one knew what's going to happen.
Right.
And then I know lots of people went out of the business. There was a company, Stay Alfred, in Washington, D.C., venture-backed.
What were they called?
Stay Alfred.
Stay Alfred.
Yeah.
And it's a
they had over...
Or short-term rental corp.
They had over, back in the day, they had over 100, maybe close to 1,000 units. And they pretty much just canceled everything. They left the furniture there. It was a big mess. So.
I think I might have heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, so what happened...
but you know what you're going to get when you stay at a Stay Alfred place. You know that they have the nice... that everything is built out.
Not necessarily. The bigger you get, it's harder to manage it. And they're the best hosts. Okay. Most of them are mom and pop hosts. Because what they do, they have a personal attention.
Because they only have one or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you scale, it's really hard to control. Even if you hire a quality, it happened to me several times. I had a guys who would do quality control, and they would just go, and since their income doesn't depend on it, they don't really.
Whose income are you talking about? You're talking about the quality control
Yeah,
person?
yeah,
This is person physically?
physically, yes. That supposed to be going and checking everything, but because they're getting paid, either it's really hard to associate the salary of the person who's doing that kind of things to the general income that you're getting from those properties. That's a problem.
So you should. What are you trying to say? You should have paid him more, or he's just he's
No,
not.
no. You just have to be on the top of everything. If you want the properties to be on a really good shape, you have to be going there yourself. Otherwise, it will be really hard. Or you have to have a partner who would do that.
Yeah.
In the best case scenario.
Yeah. And what do you think? I mean, so 2022. That's 2000. Like after COVID, how did the short term rental pick up after COVID?
So what happened? We had about 40 properties until 2020, and then after COVID, I want to say, because there was general, no one knew what's going to happen in the economy for at least 3-4 months until the stimulus
nobody
packages
could stay and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, came. So everybody's pretty much was going out of business for 3-4 months. And after 3-4 months, when people understood, hey, it's not that deadly, because first couple months, if you remember, people were thinking, hey, if I will just breathe the same air, I will die in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like some people would think so, but yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened? By the way, we probably would need to cut this COVID word, otherwise the YouTube would ban it.
No, we're good.
Yeah. Anyways, so what happened is that after 4 months, since people were not staying in hotels because they have a connected air vent systems, most of the hotels, they've influxed in, and there was a crazy uphill. Everything went uphill. I remember there was a time.
Yeah, so hotels started shutting down, so everybody was running to an Airbnb.
Exactly.
That was late 22, maybe.
No, I want to say
Summer?
late 20s.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I got my dates messed up.
Actually, summer of 2020. That after summer of 2020, everything went uphill.
Okay.
Yeah, and
especially during COVID, because a lot of people shut down. They couldn't afford it.
Exactly. There was like a huge demand, and then the stimulus packages came. People didn't know where to spend money, so
yeah, they started going on vacations.
Yeah, everybody started to spend,
and everybody's off, and everybody's working from home, and everybody's just hanging out.
Yeah, that was like the best times. I want to say 2021, 2022, and then
when you're basically raking in all that stimulus money.
Yeah,
everybody else's stimulus money. Everybody else is going on vacation, and
everybody's spending. Yeah.
Hotel. Do you know when hotels open back up?
Well, technically, some of them did not actually shut down because they were housing. I believe most of them were housing the people in need, like the homeless people with mental issues. They were just not serving their main purpose as hotels. But then it took a year or two for them to get the operation back up, and that year or two was a very good year for non-hotel vacation rental operators.
Nice. So that was basically 2022, and then I know obviously 2023 just ended a little bit ago. And it was, interest rates are up. Economy's was a little shaky in 2023. What about the short-term market? How's that?
So the short-term market is directly tied to consumer spendings. So I don't know if you heard about it. There's a website called Morning Consult where you can track the statistics on the consumer spendings and overall.
What's it called? Say it again.
Morning Consult.
Morning Consult.
Yeah, that's one of the main statistics website. So I paid attention whenever the trends are high, everything is high, economy is doing good. Obviously, our business is doing good too. But when the overall consumer spending goes down, obviously the main thing people try to save on money is
travel is like
leisure.
A luxury, basically. Yeah. So it's only when you have money you're gonna go travel and things like that.
Exactly. Okay. That's why I don't rely. I try to, do many things at the same time.
So you guys had 40, and then in 2023, how many you have in 2023?
2023. No, I never scaled up to. I eventually understood that the quality is not, then the quantity is not the main thing. Like, I mean, if you there were units, I would not make any money at all. So just moved out from those. I started to keep mainly the ones that are really good producers, and moving out from those which are not really good. So trying to put the quality over quantity right now. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, now you're focused on quality, good units, good reviews,
Exactly.
more bookings, probably longer bookings, right?
Mm, s- I started to work with companies, construction companies.
Yeah, that's actually was one of my other questions. How did
Yes,
you transfer from short-term rental to insurance? Because a lot of people want to get if you run a I don't know if this is insurance, but I think you told me before
I did insurance. So yeah, for a
you're
certain
getting
time.
basically people who
It's
have
called
their
midterm rentals.
well yeah midterm rentals.
Mm.
Um, but even people for sometimes they only need not even midterm. Some people only need 3 weeks, stuff like that. So how did you transfer from pretty much how did you transfer from posting your property on third party websites to directly with relationships? How did you transfer that? How did you get into the relationship business with insurance companies, construction companies, people that workers? I know nurses are midterm rentals, but yeah,
Nurses, I would not say it's
traveling nurses.
it's. I think it became popular after people start to sell courses, because I did housing. It's called traveling nurse housing.
Uh-huh.
Those guys are not making that much money as people think.
As a
Uh,
midterm rental, they're
no, no,
renting.
no. I'm talking about the traveling nurses. Because what happened, what I noticed during renting to traveling nurses, most of them were trying to save money. Some of them were looking even for shared rooms.
But I think the company is paying for
No,
the housing.
no, no. They get paid hourly. It's just their rates are a little bit higher than the local ones because they come on demand.
Okay.
So what happens? The hospital, if they need more employees, which is most of the time the case, because obviously there's a lack of medical employees, they just post the job, and then recruiter goes for the hiring of those traveling nurse guys, and then they say them, hey, we can pay hourly. Very rarely you get hospital to pay for the accommodation. It happens very rarely, almost never. I've never seen that, and I had like over 100.
And you're contacting now
Uh,
recruiters to get these, or who,
so
who are you
for traveling
contacting?
nurses, you contract the recruiters, but it's especially in California, it's really hard. It's a tough market to get. Most of the time, when I had the clients for UCI hospitals, and those were most of the time the families of the patients. So UCI is one of the top institutions with cancer treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and lots of patients coming here to treat their cancers from out of state, and obviously they have families that are
They
in
want
a
to come stay with them,
yeah,
be next to them.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's more thing that I'm leaning towards
How,
than
how did you get
traveling.
that? How did you do that?
So we advertise on Google, on our own website. Also, I advertise on different local platforms. Like the UCI has their own website where you can advertise. Some hospitals, uh, Chalk has their own website to advertise on. So pretty much that's stuff. But also sometimes you get like there's platforms like on Verbo. You can advertise there if you put like properties near UCI hospital. People would just search for it, and the number one thing that pops up is your
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
So that's another form. But most of the clients I get now are out of state construction guys.
So
That's
how did you get into the
those
construction?
guys. I think some of them are coming from platforms where they search for longer term stays, which some cities do not allow short term stays right now. And some of them are coming directly. Most of them are coming directly right now because it's 17. Yeah, it's been 7 years I've been in business. People start to recognize you, when you build their relationships. And after a while, they just reach you directly to you.
Yeah.
That's really good. I would say that's number one performing business right now. I have business stream, the people who bring construction employees from out of state, because it's a win-win situation. They just pass a law that minimum.
Is that one different? Is that where the construction company will pay for the housing or not?
Yes. Most of the time, what happens, they pay for the housing, and then or they pay per diem. That's what they call it to the employees they have.
Right.
Yeah, but
For
it's
housing.
really good because they just spend all day outside. They come to sleep,
So
at
they
the
don't ruin
property.
your house or anything like that. They come to
Exactly.
sleep and they're going back to work.
Pay on time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they do they pay or the company pays?
It's 50-50. Depends like on the company. I had companies who were paying. I had guys who were paying, but it's pretty much same stuff. It doesn't really matter because they come from the states like Texas, where the minimum wage is much lower than here.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Texas, people are used to be much respectful toward landlords than
Oh yeah.
they are here. So they don't play around. They just pay on time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, here's a little bit different. We have issues with squatters and
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
things
yeah.
of that
There was
nature.
actually a story about the lady who was squatting in LA house. Have you heard about it?
No.
So there was
I've heard of one in New York. There was a New York house where
there's a
go
luxury
ahead.
house
In
Yeah,
Los
good.
Angeles.
in
Yeah.
Los Angeles,
Uh-huh.
in Beverly Hills, and the guy is he's a surgeon, heart surgeon or neurosurgeon. Anyways, he built an ADU and didn't register it. So what happened? Lady booked the place. She stayed there over 30 days, and then she just refused to move out. And she was a professional squatter. The weird part is she has all 5-star reviews on Airbnb. Somehow she got to get like all 5-star reviews.
She just wanted to screw this guy over.
Yeah.
basically.
I think she's Canadian citizen or something like that. And what happened? She just stayed there, and he was not able to evict her because the property is not registered with the city.
Well,
So
also,
not only
after 30 days in LA, you get, or even I
not
think
only
in California,
not only
you get,
that, not only that, but the thing is that the property itself should be registered, and only then you can apply for having.
So it's a non-permitted ADU that she's staying in, and she stayed over 30
So he
days.
has to go with the city and
So she
register it, but he can't because she's staying there. It's like a
Do you know what happened?
I think she's still there, man.
Still there? How long?
It's
ago
been
was
like a
this?
year or so.
Anyway, that's that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's a crazy story, but it pretty much caused you a headache or made you almost like want to quit the business, that you can't take it anymore or something like that.
Well,
And then we'll talk about the long-term plan or what do you think what do you think the long-term goal is or long-term plan is? Yeah, make you wonder.
yeah,
basically.
I remember there was a guy. So I work late nights sometimes because I'm driving during the day, all the properties. And I'm home somewhere around between 8 and 10 p.m. So I have to, go through all the emails at the nighttime. So I go to bed somewhere around midnight, 1, and I wake up 9-ish or 8-ish, depends.
Mm-hmm.
If there's. And I woke up to the call. It was the guy called. He asked my name. I said, yeah, that's me. And then he was from FBI. It's like I thought someone's joking. Like this can't be a serious, like the real FBI. And then I found out
that's very serious.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
had a guy who had a warrant under his name from Iowa, I believe. It was a different state. And they came all the way down from that place to capture him in our place. That's the thing with the platform. You cannot rely solely on their background checks because you don't know who will be on the other side of the platform booking the place. Yeah, I got lots of crazy people. I had the drug dealers. I have people who did prostitution. I had people
parties,
crazy parties, man. I had a party.
Give me a crazy party story.
Over 200 guys. That's the main craziest part. So what happened? So we have devices which measure noise inside of the property. We have a 24/7 surveillance team, cameras everywhere outside, obviously.
Yeah.
And then somewhere around, it was just a normal booking. Somewhere around closer to midnight, we get the signal that the noise is like crazy. And I check the cameras, nothing is happening.
On the outside, yeah. Okay.
So what happens, they're using the backyard door. They're using the backyard door to get in, and neighbors start to call me. And it's like 200 guys, high school people. And they advertise on Instagram, sell the tickets to the party.
Oh, no.
So it's like 200 guys there, And obviously, I drive there, call the sheriff to kick them out, cancel a reservation. The problem is you cannot kick them out until you cancel a reservation. And when you call Airbnb, most of the time there's customer service at all across the other part of the world,
Right.
which are not really understanding the regulations right here.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I had a booking over a couple thousand, I believe it was $14,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy from India was handling the case. Nothing against those guys, but the property prices are completely different there.
The Airbnb customer service people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the property prices in India, you can buy the house, luxury house, for 14,000 in India.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think what happens, they don't show them the prices. So the guy cancels all his bookings. The problem is the tenant already spent about a week inside, and we have a mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
So I was trying to explain to him, hey, the mortgage prices are so crazy here. We have to get paid at least for a week or so, and etc.
Wait, why did it get canceled?
They adopted the Amazon policies. If you don't like the property, you just call and they cancel.
Oh, I know. If you don't like, yeah.
No reason. You don't have
keep
to...
it. You could have it. Just give you your money back.
Exactly.
Wait, so anyway, this guy booked for $14,000 at one of your.
Yeah, that's not the guy who made the party though. It's a different guy.
Okay, so yeah, I'm getting confused. Which store are you talking about?
So they're two different people. So I'm just trying to explain to you how refund policies works.
Okay, we can talk. I want to talk about that story too. Go back to the party.
Party? Yeah, party. We call a sheriff. We cancel it. Everybody leaves. Thankfully, I was on time there.
And the sheriffs are okay with.
No, the couple guys got arrested. Couple guys got arrested because I think they had illegal substances.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the house was ruined though. We spent I had hired 2 different cleaning teams, spent about 2 days to clean it. And
what about the damages and
so what happened? We found out about it about 20 minutes after it started to go on. If I would be late for 2-3 hours, I'm pretty sure most probably the house would be gone.
So yeah, so
have you seen this Project X movie?
Yeah,
something similar to that.
You had a pool too in this house?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that would have been a disaster.
I have a friend. He has a big property, I believe, in Palm Springs, 20 rooms.
This is a residential home with 20 rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Palm Springs is pretty much every 4th home you go there is Airbnb. So what happened? And he's trying to passively manage it. He doesn't have a guy. I mean, the management companies, most of them, there are a big management companies, Evolve, and I forgot the name of the second one. They have one guy in each city that is supposed to be managing about 200.
They're supposed to be like your boots on the ground person.
Yeah, but 200 properties, one guy, come on, it's not
especially
possible.
when there's issues.
So he said to me, once upon a time, he had a party there, and he didn't obviously know about it. He found out when the people moved out. Cleaner called him hey, your house is gone. He sent the pictures, and so property was booked for 3-4 days, and every day they had a party there.
Oh God.
Yeah, so it was
So yeah, short-term rental Airbnb can get pretty bad, huh? I mean, there's some bad stories. Yeah. Some crazy stories.
But I mean, the worst thing I think that can happen is when the squatters are coming. It's pretty much you're screwed.
Well, yeah, in California, after 30 days, you get tenant rights once you're 30 days into a property.
That doesn't make sense. You know what they passed in Florida?
I know they're getting rid of that.
The same day you call the sheriff, he comes and that's it.
Yeah, I know they're getting.
That makes sense, man. All of the rest of the world works like this, except
California, New York, just some of the more, some of the more, liberal states are a little, loose with their. They're just more for the tenant. Obviously, the problem is you want to give tenants rights. I believe in tenants' rights, but these people are taking advantage of it.
Exactly.
That's the problem. It's too easy to take advantage of the rules. So, what about? Okay, actually, another question that I had for you in regards to damage. Okay, so for example, this guy had a party at your house. This guy damaged your property and things like that. Are we able to get any damage returned to us, and how is that process with Airbnb specifically? I know other platforms probably have a process, but most people are booking on Airbnb. That's why I ask you, what's the damage loss clause in Airbnb?
So it really depends. Again, it's because the customer service is handled by the people in that are being hired by third-party companies, they most of the time they're not Airbnb employees, and the turnover is crazy because they're underpaid. I remember I had a customer service representative I was speaking to, and literally he had a cow in wherever he was speaking to me. I could hear the cow noise like an animal.
Oh, so he's working from home.
Some of them had roosters, so it's like
Oh,
pretty
man.
pretty underpaid people.
He's in India and working from home.
Yes.
Oh my
So
Living on
to
a
be honest,
farm.
I had some of the guys. I think they were homeless.
You're
that
talking
were-
about the customer service?
Yes.
How do you know they're homeless?
Because I asked him if
What?
he's on the street. I could hear the street, and he told me,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
but he's on
I
the
work."
internet. He's on the phone. He has something.
I mean,
And he's
nowadays,
hired by Airbnb.
nowadays, no, the
Or
Airbnb
by a
does-
third-party
part of-
company.
yeah, the third party does the hiring. Nowadays, I mean, even in the worst countries in the world, they have internet, so internet is not a problem.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is it's not free. So how are you homeless, but you can pay for internet?
The thing is, they are being like paid $5 a day, most of them.
Okay.
So it's like,
All right.
yeah,
$5 a day.
somewhere around that.
That's
Mostly it's Philippines, India, and
low wage labor.
I would say it's personally I think it's like a more modern type of slavery, like because there is no way out for those guys. Like that's why
There's a lot of countries like that. I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting into another subject, but yeah, there's a lot of countries that there's no opportunity anywhere.
Exactly.
So, but he has to make money. But the $5 that he makes a day, it's still, it's 50 cents to buy food.
Yeah, but
and it's-
we had a
everything is
joke-
relative. Yeah.
We had a joke in Soviets, like because there was a similar situation back in the days in 90s. Everybody were underpaid, and there is a famous joke that the American guy buys the factory in Soviets, and he hears that everybody's being paid like $20 a month,
Okay.
and then he comes to the factory and sees that no one is working, and he asks, "Hey, why are you guys not working? I pay you," and they say like we act like if we were working, if we would be working, if you would act like if you were paying us a salary. Like, $20
yeah.
is not salary, man.
Yeah, basically.
It's, you get what you pay for, and
Yeah.
very rarely you get
Like we're ready to work when you pay me, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
they're basically holding a strike. It's like a strike. In America, we do strikes. Yeah.
yeah
When people don't pay us enough.
So what happens is you get a quality, very low quality of customer service most of the time, not always, sometimes it's decent guys, and it's really hard to get Airbnb to pay for the damages. I'm not saying it's not possible, it's possible. I have a whole dedicated team who does that for me right now because I just don't have time to
Follow up with the
explain.
claims, basically?
It takes tons of time.
Because you're waiting on hold, you're supplying documents. They want proof
Exactly.
of this.
The problem is most of the time people don't understand the value of things here. For instance,
But yeah.
when I just came here, I was under like, why would rent be somewhere around? And back in the day it was 2017, 2016 when I moved here with my family. We were paying $700 for the one bedroom. Like, couldn't add up in my mind.
That was a lot of money back then.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Compared
now-
to like what you're paying over there. it's
exactly,
like, yeah.
exactly. So that's a problem. You cannot explain that
You think
the
like
plumbing
the,
work
the
costs-
culture barrier or the language barrier is a problem?
You cannot explain people that some kind of plumbing drain would cost you $150. They would just not believe you, because there it's like $20.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure.
Even if sometimes I had the cases, I would send receipts. They would tell me, "Yeah, you made it up on Photoshop." It's not possible.
I mean, but they could also, some of this stuff you could look up online.
Yeah.
It's
That's mostly what my guys do. I
It's
just
public,
tell them
it's
just
not-
to send a link from the Google.
Yeah.
The average labor for certain work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were starting the story about the guy or the client you had for $14,000 booking. Go back to that story.
Yeah,
So
so-
you had a guy that booked for $14,000.
Yeah.
What was that issue?
It was a 2 months booking, so they were with. What happens is sometimes insurance companies pay people so that they can go and rent their own place, or sometimes they get their place for them, which is much easier.
So this guy was an insurance.
Yeah, he was
booking.
insurance via. So he booked our place, and then after a week of stay, he changed his mind. I believe he just decided to move to his relative's house, keep money, and then he gave a call and Airbnb refunded him everything. and then
But you booked already. I thought it's like no cancellation.
nowadays they don't really care. They just always with client
But don't you have to put rules as the owner? Or
terms and what they call terms and conditions are built the way that you pretty much have no right.
as the host?
Exactly. Even as a guest, they can just deny you whenever they want. Obviously, it's a publicly traded company. They have lawyers. Obviously, they
Yeah.
think about that. Although they're being sued almost every day, but that's how it works. Yeah. So you pretty much have very limited rights.
Wow. So what do you think about Airbnb? What do you think about the short-term market now?
Well, the thing with short-term market is in most of the countries around the world, there is no such thing as a short-term market. So say in Ukraine, you want to rent a place, by default, you rent it month to month. There is no 1 year lease.
Oh, you mean if I was going to go rent an apartment?
Yeah. So I think it's going
Everything is kind of short-term over there. That's 30 days is not that long.
Yeah. So I think will end up with the same thing here because I found out about the 1 year lease here in America, but other countries they don't have 1 year lease. Wherever you go, you can lease for the certain period of time which you want. You don't need to have.
Yeah, but the real estate's also worth nothing over there. Ours is worth.
No, I mean it depends. Everything. The trend now is I noticed all over the world that the prices in America started to catch up with other parts of the world. Back in the day, say the apartment in Ukraine would cost somewhere around 60,000 maybe, higher end. Now it started to go up. I mean, the war obviously affected everything, but before war, it was almost catching up with like 200,000,
200,000?
Yeah. They have a pretty
for an apartment
luxury,
in Ukraine?
but it's real luxury. It's not like, fake luxury like here. The apartment has its own saunas, own spas. It's like 5-star hotel.
Yeah, like a doorman,
Exactly.
dry cleaning,
Exactly.
all that kind
Everything.
of stuff.
They even have buildings with their own parks on like a top floor, 20th floor. So it's catching up.
Well, what about the U.S.? I'm talking about the short-term rental market because I know you weren't.
So the trend is that
what's going on with the short-term? I know you're not that favorable on it. You're not saying too many.
My opinion is that the short-term rental it existed before Airbnb. So Airbnb is just a platform.
It is just.
It was much prior to that bed and breakfast thing. My opinion is that because everybody's getting aware of that, it will eventually end up Wall Street tapping into this market, which is already happening. Invitation Homes, biggest landlord in the United States. I think they started to hire guys to research that market. There would be probably, I guess, two things that would be happening simultaneously. First is every registered short-term rental cities that are allowing it, it's going to be an asset in itself. So say Palm Springs, I have a couple of properties in that area that are registered. Eventually, I think the value of it will be different from the value of other properties because obviously the income would be different. And more Wall Street companies would tap into this market. More it's going to be getting oversaturated. And some areas like Orange County, for instance, the rent will go so much up that it would catch up with whatever you're making with short-term rentals. Almost they're like properties.
It's closer.
In the Newport Beach area, like their rents were for 14,000 a month.
Regular rent.
Yeah, I mean you cannot make it if you would put. You'll make same amount. So what will happen?
I would rather just rent to a family that's going to pay. Obviously, a very rich family, but their family still because they're going to stay there for maybe a year, 6 months, whatever.
Exactly.
So if I'm a young kid. Like, I'm not a young kid. I would say if I'm in like my early 20s and I want to, do you suggest that I get into the arbitrage, whatever, short-term
I would suggest to work with someone who does this because like tons of fake gurus who are selling courses right now.
There's a lot of people doing that.
Yeah.
In every industry. But anyway, short-term rentals is
the problem is most of those guys don't really do it. They make money from the courses. And I personally know a guy. He's in Orange County. He is selling the courses. And advertise like I make like 5,000 net income on a certain property, and they just go check at the calendar, and I know he doesn't make that income. It's pretty much false advertising, but he has to do it to sell his courses, So
So he's just lying.
yeah,
Okay, what
most
kind of?
most most I would say 90% of the guys, because the real operators, they don't really have time to record the course. I had the course, my own course. I just don't see the
How much is this
point.
guy charging for his course?
So they have a sales funnel, I believe.
No, this specific guy I'm talking about.
It starts from 200 to get some kind of membership, and then they upcharge you,
Oh,
upcharge you, upcharge you until they pretty much dry out.
just take all your money,
Yeah,
basically.
unfortunately. I mean, I don't understand how they're not being sued and everything, but
So you're just saying, so if I'm a younger guy, you think I should just obviously partner with somebody with experience?
yeah, definitely, because I think it's the same in all industries. In the real estate, as a realtor, I saw the same.
Yeah.
Because not lots of people would have time or will to teach you, and whoever will teach you is in a Wall Street movie. Like, I'll work for free for you.
Oh yeah.
You have to go volunteer for someone until you learn it, because otherwise you would not learn it. It's not something that you could read from the book, or
Experience is your best teacher, and it's
100%,
better to have
100%.
somebody
Yeah.
with you. Now I know you talked a little bit about real estate. When did you transition to? You're a realtor now, right?
Yes.
And you are you're a full-time realtor, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you do that? When did you transition? And why did you transition?
So apparently, you have to practice what you preach, and when I
Okay.
have lots of investors that are investing in this kind of properties, I have to be investor myself too. Otherwise, I don't have what they call it, skin in the game.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, obviously you try to save money. I'm already buying properties. Why not to get a license? And then, to be honest, when I found out how much a realtor is getting paid in States,
Yeah.
I was like, why this is happening? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Especially I had when I was working for Seven Gables, there were like a mom and mom and pop type of people, very senior age, nice people, but those guys have no clue what they're doing, and they're getting paid like 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 for certain deal, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I can do it.
Or, yeah, it's the connections that they've built over the years.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, exactly.
So that's why, basically, just to practice what you preach. Basically.
Yeah, I think the realtor business, even with all the lawsuit and everything, is one of the easiest businesses to make. Overall, I think the American economy is built on one of the pillars is real estate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, it's inflation proof. Secondly, it's all an asset that has a cash flow, has a depreciation on papers, and
Right.
appreciates in real. There is no second asset that does that, and that's the reason why the BlackRock, Blackstone, those guys are investing in real estate. That's crazy right now.
They are. They own a ton of real estate. They're probably the biggest real estate investors in the United States. So that's kind of why you got into real estate, because you wanted to practice what you preach. You're going to show. So you're getting people as investors, and you're their realtor, and then you're eventually going to pretty much put their properties on a short-term market to generate more income. Because I think that's the problem, man. In Southern California, it's just much cheaper to rent a property. So when these investors buy a property, they don't make money. Even at 20, unless they do the short-term rental game, because that's how you squeeze all the cash out of the property versus, because interest rates are high right now, or
people in California, I think, who are investing in California, they're not investing because of cash flow. They're investing because of appreciation.
Right.
And it's pretty risky because
because you have holding costs.
I don't think that market will crash because of inventory. There's huge lack of inventory, almost impossible to crash, considering the fact that there are also lots of overseas buyers. I had investors from Emirates,
Yeah.
And they're interested in investing in more properties. But overall, I think, that's pretty much the only reason people are doing short-term rentals, because it doesn't make sense to invest with a normal.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm
renting,
saying.
yeah.
It's just too. Like I said, the holding costs are really high here. With property taxes, and then we have an issue with home insurance. You probably already know.
Yeah.
Home insurance is a big problem here in California.
Lots of companies left.
A lot of companies left, so the prices are high. So again, it's eating more into your cash flow. And obviously, I hope the interest rates come down. Obviously, talking a little bit about real estate. I want to end this podcast or talk to our last segment. We could talk about a little bit about the market outlook, and what do you think about the NAR lawsuit. So first, we'll talk about just what do you think the market outlook for the next 12 months in terms of real estate. I'm just talking specifically here in Southern California, where, you talked a little bit about it, but if you want to talk a little bit more about where you see the market going in the next 12 to 18 months, especially because we have an election coming up this year.
Well, I think California, with its immigration policies, it will only grow. Because, for instance, almost half of my properties are now being rented to the refugees. There's a huge influx of refugees from Eastern Europe after the war started. Some of them I don't even charge. Like, I try to, somehow help them. And then...
wow, that's nice, Kamal.
Yeah.
You're letting people live for free?
Not everything. So, first of all, I think those guys, we
got a humanitarian in the house. That's very nice.
No, most of those guys are really educated, highly skilled guys. So it takes time for them to find a job.
That's super nice.
The problem is when they cross the border, they don't have social security numbers. So they cannot legally work for a certain period of time. And then I know that they will eventually find a work. And I know that most of them, they will pay. Sometimes, very rarely it happens, you lose money, but you help families. So
you just feel for them because you were in the same situation at one point.
Yeah. And honestly, after a certain period of time, I think you reach... When I just came here in the United States, I think all immigrants have this. They have a scarcity mindset. And eventually, when you make it here in America, your mindset changes. You get I think they call it abundance mindset.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
where
so
you have everything, yeah.
I think thankfully, I had this shift. And I had lots of people who helped me when I just came here. And I think it's my time to...
You're giving back, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... And, since there's an influx of people, I don't think that California will ever have the issue with the real estate because people keep coming here.
What did you... Yeah, that's actually just brought up something in my mind. When you were growing up, you're in Eastern Europe. What did you guys think of the United States and I guess specifically California? What did you think California was? Or what did you think?
Well, I remember watching those movies, Hollywood movies, and... I grew up very poor. I remember there was times I used to open a fridge. We had just a loaf of breads for weeks. Nothing but except that. So we could not believe that life could be this easy as in movies back in the day. And especially, I think nowadays it caught up with other parts of the world because quality of life, it went down here significantly and went up in the different parts of the world.
All right.
Yeah, but back in the day, it was like crazy. It was just like cartoons.
You didn't think it was real, huh?
No. For first time when I came here, 2010, I went back in the day. We didn't have big markets as here, and I went to Walmart.
You mean you're talking about supermarkets?
Yeah, supermarkets. Yeah. I went to Walmart. What the hell? Like, is it possible? Why they sell so much stuff here? Who buys this?
Yeah. They're huge.
Yeah, and
especially the Walmart.
But nowadays, there's everywhere. There are Walmarts everywhere. And I just read a funny story. The Gorbachev, the guy who pretty much caused the ruin of the Soviets.
Uh-huh.
One of the things which made him to finish the Soviets was when he visited here, Reagan took him to the supermarket. And back then, Soviets, they had just empty shelves everywhere because the war in Afghanistan, it bankrupted the country. They were spending on Afghanistan. Okay. There was a war between Afghanistan and Soviets. They were trying to back up the communist government there. And they ran out of money. So what happened is hyperinflation, and the people who were bringing goods into the country, they just were not able to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Like in the United States, almost every fourth product is made in China. And I want to say about 70% of agriculture is being brought from Mexico and other countries. So imagine if it will all stop.
Yeah.
So that was a situation where I was growing up.
Okay.
And the guy who was the head of the Soviets back in the day, he saw this, abundance, everything, and he just said that we have to stop this communist think. Back in the day, it doesn't work.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a little bit. We kind of got off topic, but I was talking about your market outlook a little bit. We got into Gorbachev and all that Soviet stuff. But I guess the last thing is, we talked a little bit about before we started the podcast, but the NAR lawsuit, the lawsuit that's.
We didn't talk about Ukraine.
Huh?
Ukrainian war.
Oh yeah, the Ukrainian war. I mean, that's a big topic. The problem with that topic is I don't know a lot about it, so I don't want to speak too much about it.
I'm curious what you think.
I don't think a lot.
As an average American.
I almost don't want to talk about it because I don't even know enough. I honestly, man, we have issues here in the United States that we have to deal with, and this guy's.
You know what's the weird part is?
There was a bill that was just passed, and he's calling it like the border bill or something. It's something along those terms. It's many billions of dollars, and they're calling it the border bill to help the border. In reality, most of that money, it's actually written in the contract or written in the bill that most of that money is going to Ukraine. Most of it's going overseas, basically, and it's not staying to help our actual border. You're helping other countries. Yeah. And obviously, there's the issue with, obviously the Israel-Hamas thing is another issue. But anyway, I want again, these are topics that I'm not like a professional on, so I don't want to like say any stats or say any like things that I'm not that familiar with. But the NAR lawsuit, we just kind of studied it last week a little bit. Obviously, so they're going to take buyer's commission off of the MLS. You as the buyer's agent are not going to be able to see your commission. There's a settlement between NAR and, these scummy lawyers and, things that are going on over there in Kansas and Missouri. So what do you think? What's going to happen to realtors? You're going to have to disclose. You're going to have to sell yourself. I already have realtors that are basically selling themselves to the client. So they're sending them a list of all the things, why they're the best realtor. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do this for you. I do this for you. I do this. And obviously you're going to have to start doing that because you have to sell yourself to make your commission. I don't know. I just think it's a tough situation to be a realtor, but I also think that it's going to pass. So I think this is eventually going to pass. It's going to be normal. You're not going to have to sell yourself this hard, and you're going to just write in your contract, we're getting a 2.5% from the seller, 3% from the seller. That's what I believe. I don't know the future. Obviously, everything I say could be false. I don't know the future, but that's just my opinion. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with buyers agents kind of going forward in America? Really?
Let me ask you this. Do you think that the seller's agents being paid 2.5%?
The listing agent.
The listing agent. Is it fair that they're being paid 2.5%?
Yeah,
I think it's too much. I think it's because they're pretty much just doing nothing. They're asking a photographer to take a picture listed in MLS. 2-3 minutes.
That's funny because you're a realtor and you're saying that.
Yeah, I mean, no.
But at the end of the day, you sat with the seller and you negotiated the fee. You said, hey, this is what it's going to cost you to list your home with my company. You could say no. It's not. You could say no. Say no. There's a lot of guys advertising 1% commission. Those guys, I mean, I find them desperate, but because nobody else is doing it. You're out there. Basically, you're the 90. I use this analogy, but you are the 99-cent store of realtors. So if you want Nordstrom's, I always use Nordstrom's, but if you want Nordstrom's,
it's because you're born here. You're not immigrant.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you Nordstrom's. You want you're asking for a 99-cent store, I'll give you a 99-cent store. But if you want Nordstrom's, I can give you Nordstrom's. You'll be on every foreign magazine. You'll be all over social media. You'll get professional photography, drone photography. You'll have 3D. I'll stage it. But that's obviously for the nicer homes. We're not going to do that for, $400,000, $300,000 homes. But I'm talking about for nice homes. And also you have a name. If you have a name, if you're a realtor with a big name, especially the guys in Newport, some of them sell their name just on your property should bring, it's only 2.5%. You don't think I can get you 2.5% more just putting my name on it? That's what their argument is. I'm going to put 2.5% on your property. Since your property's selling for $2 million, you're going to sell for 200,000 more, just so you actually will make more money. That's their argument. That's what they're saying. So anyway, you obviously don't think that. So why do you think?
No. So there is statistics. I'm a numbers guy. So the statistic is that the average property being sold by realtors is being sold more 6% more in price than the properties being sold at FISBO for
Right.
sale by owner. But I'm questioning the amount that are being paid for these services. So, in my opinion, there should be a free market, as they just passed the law. That's the right thing to
But
do.
it's always been a free market. That's what people are not
Exactly,
understanding.
exactly,
It's
exactly,
always a free
exactly.
market. Anyway.
But it was non-written law here in every other state that the realtors should be paid by the seller, which didn't actually add up in my mind until this law passed. Because why would seller would be paying for the buyer's realtor? I mean, obviously they're more interested party in selling in their property, but overall, I think, as you said, there should be realtors that would be probably charging more. There would be realtors that, but overall, I think the whole industry, I think that will happen to the seller's agent too eventually, because the whole industry is considering the fact that everything is being, influenced by artificial intelligence.
And
Having
the
this
internet changed.
industry very outdated, especially there is no other industry that would have so many senior people involved in. We had a realtor back in the day that was almost impossible to work with. I mean,
Oh, the one in Santa Ana.
yeah,
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I had a hard time explaining to him simple things. I mean, there should be age when people should retire. Like, don't want to sound
Oh, man.
discriminative here,
Yeah.
but after a certain age, especially, we see it every day in the White House.
Oh, God. Yeah.
You can just forget what you're speaking about. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So pretty much,
You're trying to force people into retirement. You don't think he was a good realtor because he's an old man.
it's not about the age, man. Like,
Well, you just said it was about age.
It's about the time when you lose ability to comprehend with a certain speed with other guys, I think.
I mean, that happens with age. I mean, yeah, usually that happens with age. You're just
Yes,
I mean, there's a reason people retire. So anyway,
but everybody ages differently.
everybody
That's
ages
the thing.
differently, but so sorry, I kind of lost it a little bit. You think that yeah,
I think the whole industry will go through the significant changes,
so
including the lenders.
yeah,
industry
not just
too.
the buyers,
Not
just the buyers, so
yeah.
lenders.
Because I think everybody's overcharged. I mean, obviously, there are like guys who I know a guy. He's a software engineer, but he's a realtor at the same time. As a software engineer, he's getting paid in San Francisco Bay Area 200 a year, 200,000, and he can just sell one property and make that on one transaction, which doesn't adds up in my mind. Like, being software engineer is not easy work. You have to code all day.
Yeah, well, the thing is, lenders already went through this. So in,
Yeah.
in 2014, there was this thing. It's called like the QM rules. Basically, it's a consumer. It's a compensation for lenders or actually specifically mortgage brokers that helps consumers basically get the best deal. We're not allowed to. The way that we're allowed to make money as a
Disclosures
broker,
and everything.
basically we make way less now. Like, the industry is not the same. We're not allowed to charge. People used to say in our business, you're making money on the front and the back. A broker is not allowed to do that. So, and there's a limit to 3%. A broker is only allowed to, actually not even a broker. The broker fee, the underwriting fees, which is the administration fees, and the escrow fees are all of them together cannot be more than 3%. So basically, you are limited to what you can make. So if escrow is charging a lot of money, that means the lender has to lower his compensation. If the appraiser is charging a lot of money, the lender has to. Then the lender is the one. So now the lender is always the one taking the hit. So now it's kind of like, now it's turning back to the realtors. We can't. So I get, when I'm releasing final documents sometimes, and sometimes, the file goes through the QM process, and they say, hey, Andrew, this file hit QM. You have to lower your compensation. I don't have a choice. Unless you're the escrow officer. And the problem is the escrows, they don't make as much. Usually the lender on a transaction is making the most money out of those three people: appraiser, escrow, and lender. The lender's going to be making the most money.
Yeah, eventually I think the bigger companies will have a one-stop shop they will become like Seven Gables. They have their own escrow, they have their own title, they have their own lenders. Everything is one.
Yeah, I know. Some people are doing that. I'm not a huge fan of it. The reason is because they're not, even the escrows are not that good. The escrows are not that good. And then the title is usually like a division of another company and things of that nature. So,
Yeah.
um,
You get
and
more
that's,
liability
and
too.
you get more liability and like, I get it. It's a business, but my thing is like, you're only doing it for money. You're not good at what you do. You're only doing it to make an extra dollar. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion. Anyway, we covered a lot. And we went through the market, the short-term rental market, the real estate market, your real estate, growing up in Ukraine. Anything else you want the people to know about you, Kamal?
Future looks bright.
The future looks bright. That's actually a phrase that Patrick Bet-David has coined recently. So anyway, Kamal, if you want to tell the people, where can they catch you online? Or where can they see you online?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel at K/_money. That's mostly where I post content.
Okay, cool. Anyway, Kamal, thank you, man. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. That's episode 17. Kamal Arkandov. Thanks, man. See you guys another time.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.